battle between Iran and ISIS doesn't turn Iran into a friend of America. Iran and ISIS are competing for the crown of militant Islam. One calls itself the Islamic Republic, the other calls itself the Islamic State. Both want to impose a militant Islamic empire, first on the region and then on the entire world.
Secretary of State John Kerry is back home in America, nursing a broken leg suffered during a bicycle ride in France over the weekend, where he was to continue hammering out that ballyhooed and controversial Iran nuclear arms deal. It may be an interesting metaphor if you think about it, because there are those who closely follow all aspects of this negotiation and believe it was broken long before anyone even approached the latest bargaining table. Welcome back, national security analyst for the Clarion Project, Ryan Mauro. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Ryan, you now have the Clarion Project, that is, new videos out on your website that discuss this specific instance, the Iranian nuclear deal. You have 3 of them out right now. Say no to a nuclear Iran in good faith and believe them. What is new in these videos?
What we wanted to do was show the world that we don't need to speculate or even analyze what Iran's intentions are. You can see them in their own words. And so, for example, our video shows Rouhani, the so-called moderate president of Iran, bragging on Iranian television about how he has used negotiations to advance the nuclear program and just strung us along the whole time. So we don't need to argue and debate about whether they are sincere or not, because they are saying that they are insincere.
But is it not fair to say that everything on the video has been seen before? So what is new then in the Clarion Project's idea to push forward the idea that this deal is bad to begin with?
Well, we want to bring together the different pieces of videotaped evidence because that's just simply a more powerful presentation, and I haven't seen a presentation put it together this way, where we tell the story of the Iranian nuclear deal essentially through the eyes of the Iranian regime and what their objectives are. And it's really very frightening when you consider how the diplomatic politeness that we've had when we reach out to Iran is going on at the same time that when in Iran, they're chanting death to America. So our concern here is that this won't disarm Iran of their nuclear capabilities. It will disarm us of our ability to pressure them economically.
So who are these videos aimed at, and whose mind are you trying to change?
Well, it's all voters, but especially those that think that Iran in the age of ISIS is somehow not as bad as they once were, that Iran can potentially be an ally, because even though Iran and ISIS kill each other, we have to recognize that they also thrive off of each other. There are 2 sides of the same coin. Wherever ISIS rises up, that's where the Iranian proxies, who are just as vicious as ISIS, they're called Shiite ISIS by the locals, also rise up. And so they feed off of each other.
But is it not fair to say, and again, I hate to keep coming back to this, but this is what all part of the argument is here. We have known for a long time that Iran is not our friend. They don't want to be our friends. They have chanted death to America, at least at the governmental level now, for decades. So what is it different now to make people believe that this deal isn't any good at all, other than what we've already heard?
Well, because again, you're seeing it in their own words. Because right now, when you have American commentators going on TV and saying, I don't believe the Iranians are sincere, and there's analysis going on about their goals, a lot of people, especially in the middle of the road politically, will say, well, that person doesn't know that. That's just an opinion. Whereas now we're telling the story through what the Iranians are saying. And so it really shifts the debate moving from speculation to what we know. And what we know is that the Iranian strategy, according to their own words, has been to string us along in order to advance their nuclear program. It's taking one step back in order to take a giant leap forward.
Here's a note from Dr. Colin Kahl. He is the National Security Advisor for Vice President Joe Biden. He says that the current deal being hammered out is the best offer, despite what everybody, the skeptical voices in America, is saying, including the Gulf states. He says the deal we are negotiating makes us and the region safer. Is he lying?
I don't want to say he's lying, but I would say that it's an incorrect analysis. Because we haven't tried all of the tools at our disposal. The Iranian regime is very weak. There are many tools that have been proposed over the years, including supporting the democratic opposition, having a political pressure, economic pressure on the Iranian regime that have not been exercised. And instead, what we hear is that it's okay to work with Iranian-backed killers in Iraq, some of which we've considered to be terrorists in the past. What we've heard is that we can rely on the Iranians, perhaps because of this anti-nuclear fatwa that the supreme leader has supposedly released, but no one can find. And so we are basing our analysis and our trust in things that really have no credibility based on history.
I only got about 20 seconds left, but what about the fact that, in essence, we are working with the Iranians right now to defeat ISIS?
Right, and I think that that's a big mistake. And the Iraqis have said that this was not a position that they wanted to be in, that they wanted to have America as their strategic partner. And when forced to choose between the U.S. and Iran, the Iraqis have chosen the United States. And so, like I said, while you're fighting ISIS with Iranian-backed militias, the Iranian-backed militias have their own nickname in Iraq. It's Shiite ISIS. It's not a good policy to fight ISIS with Shiite ISIS.
Let's see if this changes any minds. Remind everybody these videos can be seen at clarionproject.org. You can view them for yourselves, get an idea. Ryan Mauro, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hardline, continues right after this.